All right, quick one on BTC here. Looks like we've tagged that supply zone. We didn't really get those retests like I've drawn here. We kind of just sort of showered down with this correction. After tagging that 31k level, what I was expecting. I'm looking at this coming down and holding this weekly trend if we're going to be bullish for another retest of the highs. Retest the breakout region here on the weekly, and that was also the range breakout, and hold that weekly trend line. If we break that weekly trend line, then I'm expecting us to shower over and come down. At least come back into this demand zone, retest that. Obviously, I've got that bounce there, and then potential rejection at the range highs, and then roll over. So that's just that projected squiggle that I drew, back when price had sort of broken out. And so you can sort of see how it's kind of followed suit. But let's have a look on the 3-day. Interesting thing to note, we obviously, we with this move up, we tagged the 1-to-1, the 127 rather. So, right into that supply zone, tagged that 127. We've just sort of broken this 3-day trend now. So after retesting it here on this big drop back into that demand zone where we shot up off the, I believe what was it? I think it might have been the 19 weekly moving average. Nice little tag. Maybe something on the daily 200. There you go. As well, yeah. So the daily 200 tag and the 19-week MA tag. So that coincided with that 3-day RSI trendline retest, and a bunch of other things in there that were good for the long with that move up, which was some time ago now. But that led to that breakout. We got the wick up, we got the retest down, and then price shot up. So we ran into that supply zone, which I discussed heavily in one of my previous videos about. We need to break through this supply zone if we're looking at any higher targets. So sorry, the screen's a bit just on my phone here. It's a bit small, obviously. But yeah, we really need to get through this supply zone if we're going to look for those higher targets. So also discussed the fact that we, after rejecting the range highs here, we rejected off the 200 weekly moving average, right? Came down, hit the 200 day, shot up, all that sort of thing that went on. Through here, we had a nice bounce off the 200 weekly, held it again, had a nice bounce, and now we've broken through that 200 weekly moving average. So it's not ideal. It's not looking overly bullish with that break, with dropping that support. So, especially after coming out of rejecting the supply zone. So, we can still reverse, obviously, being a correction. We can still go to the upside. So looking at this weekly trend line to hold, if we, and obviously I trade BTC in a much higher time frame than a lot of you guys, but, I'm still long. I still wanted to get that sort of retest before I sold my BTC, but if I don't get it, then, I'll just hold my spot and I'll just add and accumulate as it comes down. But if we break this weekly, then yeah, looking for this move down here. But again, looking for that weekly to hold with the retest of the range highs, right? But it's got to be sort of within a couple of weeks. I don't want many candle closes on the weekly below this 200 moving average. So we close this week low, and then get down to this target around 24,300, to 24,000, and then we want to, sort of as the black line indicates there, we can sort of wick down into it, but then we want to start climbing up. And again, if we reject at the wick lows here of that, that little smaller supply zone that's been created, if we reject on that, then put in a bearish retest, then I expect it will roll over like I've got here. So it just depends on how we move forward, on what we get, but that's sort of the price action that I'm expecting. If I zoom down to the daily here, so as we said, tag that 127. did talk about in my last video after we broke out here on the daily. The daily trend lines, which I sort of just kind of realized, because I trade the Forex predominantly, as you know, like by far, that's my jam. So, daily trend lines on a Forex being the moves, you're looking for pips, you're not looking for percentages. So a 10% move on Forex is obviously enormous. 10% move on Bitcoin is not so much. So what was this move? That was 7-8%. And then that, being a daily break on the Forex, that would be hundreds of pips, which is an enormous move. But for BTC, it was a 7% move, which is decent, but it's already over even after the break, and then that hidden bear was put in and it's rolled over. So I guess what I'm saying with that is those trend lines, maybe the 3-day is more comparable to the daily on the Forex, and the weekly is more like the monthly kind of thing. So got to look for those higher time frame trend lines potentially. Anyway, regardless of that, I did talk about this being a flat. I said that this could be a flat that we put in here, right? I said that's very potential that's a flat. So we came down like this, and then I said 3 ways up, and then I said if we get that flat, then we're looking for 3 ways down to that level before some potential upside. So that's what I'm looking at now. Basically, as I just discussed on that high time frame, coming down, hitting that target. Here's the range highs, the range high here, and on that weekly support. So we'll see what happens with that. That's basically what I'm looking at next. So in terms of how that sort of gets there, there's many different ways. You guys want to do your Elliott wave and get there in different ways, that's fine, but there's all these sort of ways that we can do it. I'm not going to try to project that, but there's some sort of squiggle that you could use. All right, see if I can upload this one. Cheers.